Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are doing so well. Here we are about a week away from Christmas, and I have a podcast episode that I recorded last week about pausing, and I just wanted to share it with you. God has called me to pause in the rebrand of the podcast so I can really immerse myself in this season and be with my family and be present and linger and just truly remember what this holiday is all about and Jesus's birth. And I think it just hits so much harder with having children of my own. And this year, pausing and being with them has really, just opened my eyes to so many things and to what really matters in life. So I'm grateful for that. That all being said, I am in California right now for my job, and being away from my babies makes my heart ache. But again, this trip has brought me so much clarity and so much more awakening and calling to my purpose. And I'm grateful that Kat got us all in a room together for this Mommy Games. She's the host of the Adventure Paradox podcast, and she just had us all on a call that of the gals who have been interviewed and sharing their stories about motherhood and the journey along the way. And I just think it's so amazing that she built such a great community of women around this series. And man, I was so blown away by everything that all these women had to say. So I'm going to include the link to that in the show notes. And I hope that you guys enjoy this episode. I encourage you to pause this holiday season. A lot of emotions. And as we get into the Grounded Mama podcast, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about feeling those feelings, especially around this time of year. I think, a lot of things come to surface where people don't understand where things are coming from. So I'm so excited to offer the relaunch in the new year to you. But for now, I'm going to pause. And when I get home, I'm going to just shut everything down for the rest of the year and just soak up being with my boys and my family. And that's truly what matters. So I hope you all are well. I hope you enjoy. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Take care. Welcome to the Kindred Journey Podcast, the podcast where women share their experiences of stepping into courage when comfort is no longer an option. This is the podcast for connecting in community with women who have been shaped by the liberating to challenging seasons that life endures. I am your host, Lesley. I am a wife, mother, daughter, sister, and friend. I too have experienced these seasons in life, and I want you to know that you are surrounded by a community of courageous, real women here for you. I can't wait to connect, so grab your favorite beverage and join me on this kindred journey. Hi, I am back as the Kindred Journey podcast host. For some of you that reached out, thank you via to me personally, asking and supporting me about the rebrand of the podcast and the upcoming episode that I talked about launching last week, It is now almost the middle of December. And I appreciate it. I appreciate you following up and reaching out and saying, I'm so excited to hear what's going on. So with that all being said, I was, going to launch the rebrand of the Kindred Journey, which will now be the Grounded Mama podcast. And it is still coming, yes. However, with that being said, God has called me to pause, and I am going to listen. I could have posted an episode. I easily could have. Last Thursday was my birthday, and I was going to relaunch on my birthday. And in typical Miller fashion, for those of you who know me personally, I love to do things under the gun. And last but not least, and it was definitely a great day. I had an amazing time with my husband. We actually got to get away to the mountains. It was beautiful. And I just ran out of time. Surprise, surprise. Could I have burnt myself out and pushed through and recorded a podcast episode 1000%. I could have. However, with that being said, that would not be foundationally aligned with where we're headed with the podcast and what I'm doing in my life and what I'm practicing more now. And so while I was thinking, I'd get a podcast episode out over the weekend turned into this week, but over the weekend I was doing something and God came to me and said, how about you just pause for right now? And I think there's immense courage in pausing because I started this as a hobby almost a year ago, and it has been my little passion project. And I've been so grateful for the opportunities and the women that I have met and connected with over this past year and a half from starting this little venture. But I have such a clear vision and purpose behind where I am going with this that it's almost scary. But again, I'm trusting in God and abiding in Him and what He is calling me and my passion to do. And it's all about nervous system regulation and reducing the overwhelm, reducing the overstimulation. So again, with that being said, I could have flown by the seat of my pants and got a podcast episode out. It would have been on Miller time, better late than never. But again, we're really moving the needle with this work. And this current cohort of women that I'm currently coaching and working through nervous system regulation and finding that balance in motherhood with a regulated nervous system, I wouldn't be practicing what I'm teaching. And so that takes authenticity, that takes alignment, that takes pausing. And I think for me, at first it was a little scary. Maybe I was a little apprehensive of, but what about my listeners? What about, I don't have that many listeners. I have wonderful friends and wonderful women who I've met along the way that have become friends that listen. And I'm grateful. And I'm grateful for the way that this podcast has impacted your lives, because some of you have personally reached out and said that you are gaining the courage that you have not had in the past. And that means the world to me, that I am helping change somebody's life for the better, even if it's just a little bit of a needle shift. That means the world to me, that I'm helping somebody create a better life for themselves. And I could, with posting an episode, that wouldn't do anybody a service. That wouldn't do me a service. That wouldn't do any of the listeners a service. That would just be doing it to prove that I could. A little bit of ego there involved. And so while I'm pausing the rest of this year, and I am not giving an exact date of when the relaunch will happen, but it will happen in the new year. That's something to be continued. It is coming, and I am working on it, and I'm pausing, and I'm embracing this month, as chaotic as this month is, not just with year end, with a full-time job that I had a huge project fall in my lap unintentionally. And here it is, year end, Christmas, and birthdays, celebration, and traveling, and just all the things. Like it's all good things. It's just when to pause and when to say is enough. So I'm grateful to pause, because this week I have immersed myself in reading for leisure and relaxing and resting and lingering, and just I'm very proud of myself for, as I look back on this year and have had so much more time for reflection this week because of pausing. You're not, everybody's not going anywhere. The podcast isn't going anywhere. It's still going to be here. So I think just realizing that the importance of pausing, and where can you maybe pause in your life, and what does that look like for you? Because again, I think what made me answer that question for myself was in 30 days from now, where am I going to regret not showing up if I don't pause, and if I do push through, and if I still try and stay up late at night and do the podcast rebrand after the kids go to bed, or wake up early and try and get anything productive, quote unquote, done before the kids get up. Where would I miss out, and what would I regret? So I guess that's a question, and everybody's answer is going to look different. Like, what would that look like for you to pause in this season of your life, in the month of December, in the last 17, 18 days of December that's left? And, one thing I've been talking about with this cohort group of women that I'm running through this nervous system reset program is, you need to go slow and deep with this process. It is not a overnight fix. It's not a Band-Aid approach. It is a hard look the hard stuff in the face kind of work. And it's not pretty. It can be ugly. It can be very beautiful on the other side of it as well. So again, I just knew in my heart I needed to pause, and I'm very proud of myself because I have nothing to prove. I appreciate, a few of you did follow up and reach out and say, oh, what happened to the relaunch? And so thank you for caring and wondering and being there in my corner. It means the world. But I think this also, hopefully you all receive this episode and the intention behind this episode that much greater, and see the authenticity behind it, because authenticity was my word for 2024. And I feel like I've really pulled back the layers of this onion bit by bit and truly immersed myself in like what authenticity means to me. And part of it has been this podcast and starting this podcast. So with all that being said, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity that God has given me. And He wants to place on my heart helping other moms balance their nervous system and to feel regulated. Because I think in this society that we live in, we don't know what regulated feels like, or we have to consciously make effort to be regulated because we're on distraction 24/7 with phone notifications and calendar reminders, and even the holidays, like do this, do that. What does that look like? I think it's all collective, and it all builds on each other. Having kids in the first year of life, like they have so many, sleep regressions and teething. And I mean, there's just so much inconsistency with that first year too. So I could see where after having my second, where so much of my dysregulation came from with my first, especially in the season of life that we were in when that all happened. And I just really wanted to practice what I'm teaching to this group of women and to pause. I think, it doesn't hurt anybody. It doesn't, that putting this podcast rebrand off until the new year does not hurt you. It doesn't hurt me. It only is, it's kind of like cultivating, harvesting your crop. It's like you don't want to pull it off too soon because it's not going to be ready. So I think, again, just kind of taking this work slow and steady and being super intentional with it is so important. And yeah, I just really encourage you to lean into how you can actually pause this holiday season, maybe even going into the new year. I know new year, ironically, is new year, new me, or New Year's resolutions or words, or, what does that look like for you? It's funny how, but it's in the middle of winter when we're supposed to be resting and restoring. And so, yeah, I just really encourage you and challenge you to pause in one way or another, whether that's sipping your morning cup of coffee in complete silence and just sitting there doing nothing, like looking out your window for a 10-minute pause throughout your day. A meditation is a great way to pause through your busy day, the hustle and bustle of what the season brings. Those are just a few ways, to name a few. So I really do encourage you, and let me know. I'd love to hear from you and how you're pausing, because I think this is so yummy and so juicy and just so it's like it's the nectar of life. Like it really is, especially to like watch my children living Christmas through their eyes is so magical. And just sitting there and being able to just sit with that moment and be in that present moment. Again, 30 days from now, I'm not going to regret doing that. So this isn't the most mainstream way to end the year, especially with all the things and sales and buy this and get this gift and like all the go that comes with this time of year. It's definitely the opposite of what is sold to everybody this time of year, but it is the most authentic for me. So, and speaking of authenticity, if you want to follow along and see the process, I'm creating my podcast community on Heartbeat. And that is an app, and it's free to you guys. It's a free community, but it is off of social media. I have chosen to not have a Facebook group for the podcast moving forward, and I never did have one. But as the rebrand happens, I'm setting up these things to go along with the podcast, and having a community group on social media was just not in authentic alignment with myself. I don't know about you, but being a mom, I definitely have not been gravitating towards social media as much as I maybe had in the past. And I don't know if it's the overwhelm, or I kind of took a break from Instagram during like COVID, and then coming back and the reels in your face and all the things just popping up all the time. Again, helping moms with the overstimulation and the overwhelm. Social media is not where I want to be. And I don't want to speak for anybody else, but I don't think a lot of people want to be there, but that's where communities are. That's where connection can be. So, I am going to step out of the norm, and I am going to be hosting my community group on Heartbeat. So I would love for you to join me there. I will be posting updates, with the rebrand of the podcast. If I'm not coming on here to do an episode, I will be posting on there when I decide a date in the new year of what that looks like. And again, it's totally free to you. It's an app. It's really easy I think it's user friendly to use. I did a lot of discernment before choosing where I wanted to host this platform. And again, I think we're all hardwired for connection, and that's the way God made us. And I think we want to connect in some of these areas on the online space, and it's such a great thing that we have, that previous generations didn't. But I think the authentic, genuine connection versus the surface level clickbait, reels, shiny object syndrome. And again, I'm speaking from my personal experience. So I just did not feel called to have a group on social media, or a community, an online community on social media. So Heartbeat, it's a little bit different, and you have to go, download the app, go to the app to be in this group and engage with other moms. And I'd love for you to join me there. And in the new year, so a few things that will be coming along with the new podcast. I will be offering an extremely limited amount of one-on-one coaching with moms. And there will be more details to follow on this. But again, I am currently working with a cohort of women through a nervous system regulation program. And I will also have that course coming up also in the new year, probably I would say mid to early spring, just depending on the timeliness of this cohort wrapping up and finalizing some things and moving forward. So to be continued. Again, a lot of fun things happening, birth of a lot of exciting things, rebirth of the podcast. It'll be all wonderful things that I'm very excited to share with you guys. And I will include the link to the Heartbeat community in the show notes. I will also include the link to my opt-in for my email list. So again, if you want to know what's going on, I'll be sending just like a weekly email. And once the podcast is rebranded, I will be sharing updates of what that week's episode will be talking about moving forward. So right now, you're not getting consistency from me, but I'm not sorry for that. I know I need to just take this moment to pause and take a step back and really get my feet under me as far as what I want things to look like in the new year. And I can't do that by trying to white knuckle through December. And I have, again, just so many things to share with you in the new year, and I'm very excited to do so. But until then, I hope everybody enjoys the holidays with their family. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas. And again, I truly, truly invite you to just pause yourself. Have a great day and a great rest of your year. Thank you for joining me and listening to the Kindred Journey Podcast. If this episode resonated with you, please consider taking the time to rate and review the podcast and share this episode with family and friends who you think might enjoy it. Your positive feedback helps me reach more courageous women like you. This is my passion project, so without you, I wouldn't be here doing this, and I deeply appreciate your support. Until next time.